Okay.
Hey everyone, we are the specialists at Classic Beverage Company, and we are starting a new program called the Extra Special Happy Hour on Wednesday evenings. And we all just wanted to introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about what we're trying to do. And also the theme for today is, what are we drinking? I'm sure a lot of you are at home thinking about some interesting things to drink. So hopefully we can throw some ideas out there, send your questions our way. We do have a beer specialist, a sake specialist, spirit specialist, and wine specialist, and some crossovers within. So feel free to ask any of us anything. So we will go ahead and start with Brian, if you'll introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, I'm Brian, and I'm I'm Brian Smith, and I'm our spirit specialist. I've been with Classic for 6 years now. That's how long I've been on the dark side, which is longer than it feels, for sure. Every day is a new day, and I still self-identify as a bartender, which I think may piss off a lot of bartenders, but it's fine because I can still make a Paloma, which is what I'm drinking. This actually, Alisha, who bartended at my wedding, she poured this drink out of a keg. And I got this particular recipe from one of my favorite bars for any kind of drinking, called Brass Tacks. And Stuart, who was one of my groomsmen, he was kind enough to give me that recipe, and I've been taking advantage of that ever since. So ordinarily a Paloma, or traditionally it would just be squirt or Jarritos, grapefruit, and tequila, and some lime juice maybe. But this version has El Velo tequila, which is this is the Blanco. It's an overbuilt Blanco, meaning it's a little higher proof, from a distillery called La Cofradia. So instead of 80 proof, it's 89 proof, a little punchier in cocktails. And then an aperitivo. This is called Diamante, produced by a smaller Italian distillery, which is kind of the kind of stuff we specialize in. And then grapefruit juice and lime juice and squirt, which is my preference. Because I am, I don't know, kind of a redneck, and I like the sodas, you know. So to me, squirt is great. But if you don't have squirt and you want to get real bougie, San Pellegrino Pompelmo is super nice, very nice. And you don't need a lot of grapefruit juice or lime juice, because it's actually 16% juice. Or 6%, I can't remember, one or the other. But yeah, here's my Paloma, which is halfway gone.
It looks
as
delicious.
We've been sitting here.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. Cheers. Alisha, what are you drinking?
Oh, I have Oxbow Farmhouse Pale. So Oxbow Brewing is a farmhouse brewery from Maine. And this is actually 100% bottle conditioned beer. So I like to pour it pretty slowly and not really shake up the sediment that's going to be at the bottom. But you can see that it pours a really pretty kind of blonde color, little bit of hop character, some funkiness from the yeast that they use. Yeah, so really cool farmhouse brewery from Maine. They tend to use a lot of the microflora that's in the air as to ferment their products, and they do a lot of barrel aging and a lot of fruit additions, and they make all kinds of funky, really cool stuff that takes a long time to make. But this is kind of one of their flagship beers, and it's just really, really easy drinking, and it's a very perfect example of not only the style, but also of what Oxbow kind of specializes in. So really light, easy to drink, a little citrusy from American hops, and a great food pairing beer. There's a kind of some Belgian yeast character in there. It smells so good. I love this beer.
Super jealous.
Whatever, your Paloma looks good.
Tell us about you, Alisha.
Oh yeah, sorry. So my name is Alisha. I am the craft beer specialist at Classic. I've been with the company for almost 2 years now, and kind of helped get the beer program off the ground almost 2 years ago. And so we now have, depending on the time of year, because beer changes so much, we have anywhere from like 10 to 20 breweries in our portfolio. But yeah, it's been a really fun couple years, and quite a learning experience for me. Yeah, and I love the company so much, and I'm really happy to be in this new position. It's super fun. I get to travel all over Colorado and talk about beer all day. Could be worse.
Not a bummer.
So awesome.
Not a bummer.
So now we'll kick it over to our sake specialist, Katrina.
Hello. My name's Katrina Shlom. I've been with Classic for about 8.5 years. And I've been learning about sake for a little bit longer than that, but I think that learning about sake is something that you do for a very long time because there is a whole lot to learn about. It's constantly changing, just like wine, and has as much depth and complexity, but in a much smaller geography, although that's getting to be broader and broader all the time. And today I'm drinking little sake from our brewery, Masumi. It's called Hia Oroshi. They call it Sleeping Beauty. So this is a Nama style sake, meaning that it's not fully pasteurized. This bottle is still a little bit alive in there. And the Sleeping Beauty is made in spring, and then the brewery puts it down to rest, to sleep for the summer in the cooler, and they let it chill out, and they let it come together and change. And then it winds up being just a little tiny bit pasteurized and bottled in fall and sent out to us. So what we get to have here is actually kind of a really exciting thing, because it's not quite an all the way fresh Nama, but it's also really unique. And it has these really pretty fall aromas. It's really kabocha squash on the nose, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm a texture lady. I love texture in beverages. And to me, this is a really cool sake because it has a little bit of weight from the sweetness. It's a little zippy from the acidity. So it winds up being both bright and heavy at the same time. And that just kind of rings my bell.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Here.
Here's to ringing bells.
Social distancing cheers.
Mhm.
I know. Now I'm getting all jealous, and I want to try what everyone else is
I
having.
know, I'm the same way.
On the description.
Katrina's like, I smell, and I'm like, I want to smell.
Sake has
Yeah.
like Sleeping Beauty is the name of it. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
It's very romantic. I like it. It's always an interesting story.
It's so romantic.
Hell yeah.
It is.
Karen, what are you drinking?
So hello everyone, I'm Karen Rasmussen. I've only been with Classic a mere 5 months.
Welcome.
Came on as the fine wine specialist in October. Although there are many fine wine professionals within Classic, really psyched to be on the team and working with some of the best in the biz. So I've done a number of different things in the industry, mostly being a sales rep for some other companies. I've worked in retail, worked in restaurants, worked a few harvests abroad in New Zealand and France and Chile. And I'm passionate about a lot of beverages, as we all are, but I'd say wine is more so my particular calling, if you will. And specifically, Riesling is my grape. I love Riesling. I am on the Riesling team forever to promote this wonderful grape that can be so different depending on where it's grown and what food you have with it. It's super versatile, but what it will always have is a beautiful acidity if it's done right. And that to me is aperitif wine, AKA trough wine. I would lap it out of a trough if I needed to. That type of wine, a drink all day type of wine. So what I'm drinking today, this is, you can see the label, Boundary Breaks is one of our Finger Lakes, New York producers. I have their Ovid Line North, or OLN, medium dry Riesling, so not too sweet, not too dry. The special part about this area, although it's in kind of northwestern New York by, I guess in the Finger Lakes district, otherwise a pretty cool region, as in cold, but all the lakes, they look like fingers, north-south. There's 11 of them. They do help moderate the climate in this region. So for vineyards that are planted a little bit closer to the lakes have a bit of a moderating effect. The deeper they are, the more that warming effect will have an influence. So the deepest of the 11 lakes is Seneca Lake at about 700 feet. And that's where you'll see some of the best wineries in the Finger Lakes. So that's where Boundary Breaks is. That's where this Riesling comes from. You do get a little bit of climate moderation with being on the shore of this extra deep lake. And then you'll see with most of these Rieslings that they're made mostly stainless steel, kind of high acid, really fresh styles, meant to be drunk chilled, but like I said, that versatile element helps them pair with many things. So with this one, a good Finger Lakes Riesling, I always get, I guess that liminess over lemon for me, and almost like crushed minerals, that slaty minerality comes through almost in a sharp way on the mid palate and post finish, that just really makes you salivate and kind of wish for more. So cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to put all my cocktails for these segments in a wine glass because I look weird. Like
You feel like
I like to nose the mason jar. Really get in there, you know.
I love how far down yours already is there.
Hey, that was mostly ice.
It
And
sounds like I need some more.
Aaron, I don't know if you've met me, but I'm actually I'm impervious to palomas. They have no effect on me. So I could just be drinking water, honestly.
I don't know, Alisha, you've seen him under the influence of palomas. Do you find that to be true?
Wait, what?
I said you've seen him under the influence of palomas. Do you find that
yeah.
to be true?
I mean, he can hold his own.
Also, that whole day I was pounding ricea. So I don't think it was really the palomas so much.
You know, you were not the worst one at the wedding.
Well, no, I couldn't be. I was on my best behavior. Although, when we got back after we had an after party at Brass Tacks, actually, where I drank more of these.
Oh, yeah.
And we got back to like the Airbnb. What? And I went to sleep while everyone else went out for cheeseburgers. Which is great. You know, that's how you want to end the night. You know.
Yep. Cheeseburgers and sleep.
Yeah. The one time I turned down cheeseburgers and I wasn't even conscious to do so.
Dang. Speaking of food, why don't we talk about what we would want to eat with what we're drinking?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I have this open because yesterday we did a little bit of a at-home tiki night to try and spice it up a little bit, and we had some full day smoked pork and some grilled vegetables, and the smoky aromas and the grilled aspect were just like beautiful with the hiyaroshi and that like little squash thing that was happening, and the fact that this has a little umami and that has a lot of umami, they were like playing really nicely together.
That sounds awesome.
I'm hungry.
Yum.
I'll take your leftovers.
Who's cooking? The great thing about cocktails is You can take the base spirit and you can take any component and suss it up a little bit. Honestly, if I'm drinking a Blanco tequila, I tend to stick to really bright flavors. Really anything that is light and bright goes wonderfully, you know, and that could incorporate anything from like, you know, a bao bun with really bright flavors to, you know, a spring pasta, honestly. Switching up the base spirit in a Paloma, you could get really wacky. So if we were going to use like a mezcal, here, come with me, everyone. Come with me
Ooh.
to the bar cart. So you can use rum in a Paloma. It's wonderful.
Yes.
Rum is typically aged, right? So a lot of times you're gonna be able to start looking at not, you know, the braised pork or chicken, but like maybe lamby type stuff or maybe beefy type things. Or like root veg is great with an aged rum, especially if there's a little Jamaican in it like this. If you are gonna put like a mezcal in, a little smoky yoki, that's where barbecue is killer, you know? Like I love a good beer with barbecue, but also a Paloma with like a northern mezcal, something that's not of the Zapotec or like really like tire fire Oaxacan deliberate variety. You know, if you get just a subtle mezcal on a Paloma is like booyah with barbecue.
Yeah.
That sounds great. All of them. I would eat all of that. With the Farmhouse Pale, this is a really, really versatile beer. Pretty light and bright, so I would keep foods kind of similar. It's not acidic at all. It's more like funky from some Brett character. So yeah, any kind of like lighter foods like seafood or chicken or anything like citrusy or even like salad or something like that. But it's got a decent amount of body, so it can hold up to some like fattier foods too. I don't know if it would be the best pairing with a steak, but Oxbow actually has a James Beard Award winning restaurant at their Portland tap room. So they kind of purposely make all of their beers to be food friendly. So this is kind of like the prime example of like their version of a food friendly beer. So pairs with a ton of different things. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
That's all. I'm done.
Perfect.
I'm out.
And like I was saying with Riesling, super food versatile, so you could go a number of ways with this. But I'm smelling that key lime. I'm tasting the lime on the palate. I want to pair it with lime, so I'm thinking some fresh fish tacos with a squeeze of lime over, maybe incorporating some red cabbage, something a little like vegetal and crunchy. This would take on really well too, because of the sharp note. And I would also take it in the same vein in a ceviche direction with some fresh lime squeezed over the top. You could even go like a fresh salad with shrimp off the grill. Grilled shrimp would be wonderful with a little squeeze of lime. Crab cakes, I think you could do with this too. You could bring in a little bit of that crunchy fried element via the fried piece. Is that your pup?
Yeah, she decided she needed to come say hi.
I love it.
She's like, I want some Riesling. And I was like,
she heard
I was
about
like,
the
I don't have any in the house, or you could have some.
Oh, we gotta do something about that.
Yeah, that's bad.
She wants to be Instagram famous, is that it?
Yeah, exactly. She wants to be a specialist too.
Yeah.
Aww.
Tracy, you're
The
so
specialist
special.
of puppy chow.
Yeah. We should do a segment called "Who's That?" And
Walking in the background. Yeah.
exactly. So like
Who was that?
the dogs behind Alisha with the person that I could be sort of like phantom that I could barely see.
I have a few dogs, so that would be very easy.
Alisha, how many dogs do you have?
Right now in my house, there are 5 dogs and a cat.
Wow. Are you fostering, or what's the story behind 5 dogs?
My boyfriend and I have 3 dogs and a cat, and my sister just moved in and she has 2 dogs. So we have a very full house.
Yeah.
But luckily,
no,
we have a backyard, so.
a very full house and no Danny Tanners. Womp womp. Sweet.
No.
Well,
oh, thank you.
what do we want to do? Do you guys want to hang out more?
We might want to explain what a specialist does. That could be interesting for people, and I know that will vary a bit depending on
it does
the
vary.
discipline.
Yeah.
I guess how I interpret it, in my opinion, is the freshest because I am the newest to the company, so I'll just go ahead and get it out of the way. I just see it as being another layer of a sales rep. Instead of covering just one territory, you're kind of responsible for covering key accounts in the entire state, and finding those key accounts in each market that might be receptive to, maybe higher end expressions of wine or geekier styles, or an account that could benefit from, more in-depth staff training or, demonstration of sorts. So that's kind of how I see it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, we're kind of like, we're sales support in a way, and our job is to really like focus on maybe some of the details that sales reps either don't have time to explain, or maybe they don't have quite as much experience, or whatever it may be. I feel like I've been in the beer industry for over 10 years now, and I've like spent that 10 years really, really studying craft beer, the brewing process, what's going on in other countries, why water and yeast and hop varietals and stuff affect the flavors and the body and everything else in a beer. And I've researched it, and I've talked to so many people, and I've traveled with the intention of going to different breweries and asking questions. And a lot of our sales reps maybe just haven't had that kind of opportunity. So yeah, we're almost like sales backup. And they come to us when they have a question they can't answer, or if they're super busy and they can't get to some place at the right time, like we're there to help. We do a lot of trainings. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, I think there's an element, like in the age of like no one has to know anything because you can just Google it. I think that on top of what the role entails is you're allowed to kind of intensify your education and gain some firsthand knowledge. Like I wouldn't have been hired if I hadn't been obsessed with a couple categories and really gone down the rabbit hole, especially in agave spirits and American whiskey. But now I get the opportunity to go to the Caribbean and see things and understand the cultures that produce these distinct products, and bring that culture and that like personal experience, that firsthand experience, back to somebody who's like managing a bar at a pizzeria and is like, so what's going on with mezcal, right? To be the connection between really passionate producers and people that want to be really passionate about a certain category. You kind of act as a bridge there to different cultures.
Sake is a pretty niche thing, and the sake world is very, very small, and the sake world in Colorado, of course, is going to be even smaller. So I have a little bit of a different role within the company. I have accounts that I love and I call on, but I also have a little bit of a weird obsession, and I'm really, really lucky that I work for people that let me go and talk about it.
It's not weird. It's wonderful.
Whenever someone has
no, you're weird.
Yeah.
No, you are.
Whenever someone has a customer that's interested in sake, or that that they think it's going to suit their program, then I get my opportunity to come in and share what I think is so exciting with them. And it's not an average everyday sort of a conversation. It's so very different for Americans, and I find that it's often wine people that want to learn about it just because texturally and experientially it's so similar to the wine world, even though it's got really distinct differences. And Alisha, it's like beer, it's brewed. It's not pressed from a fruit, it's from a grain. But the platform to find people that are sparked by it is what brings me joy in the opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Cheers to that.
Cheers, y'all.
Well, this has been a good, good time.
Yeah.
I hope we can do this next week and maybe add a couple more elements, a couple more little cutesy segments. Follow us on Instagram individually, and we'll be posting some live videos and that kind of thing to kind of suss out what our individual experiences are, and then we'll be back here to share those experiences with each other, and also just like see some people that are as passionate as we are, and just feel a little bit of camaraderie at a time when that camaraderie is really important. So yeah, who wants to sign off? Who wants to be the news anchor and sign off?
You're doing a pretty good job.
I would just like to say thank you for everyone tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed our rambling.
If you've made it this far.
Yeah.
Good job. Pat yourself on the back. Because we're not that cool. We just think we are, which is why we're all here.
If you have any questions for future videos that we do, we're going to do probably one a week with all of the specialists involved, and then probably one a week will be an individual kind of live video session. So if you have any questions about a specific subject, please let us know. If there's kind of more of a broad topic that you'd like us to talk about, we would be happy to. We want this to be as engaging as possible, and we would love your feedback.
Yeah.
Because we have social interaction right now.
That's right. So join us next time when we shotgun a beer.
Love it.
Great. Well, thanks for your time. Katrina, do you want to say goodbye? Deuces.
Yep.
Deuces. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody, and we will see you very soon.